Previously on Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney.
If you did not think he was a villain up to this point, where he has a giant Disney villain organ in his office, if you didn't think he was a villain up to this point, well, here you go. He did it.
What's going on, guys? This is Bunzi, and welcome back to another Let's Play of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. So, where we last left off, you know it, I know it, I was right. Gant is evil, and he's going to kill us. We used Gumshoe's ID card to sneak into his office. Well, we tried to go in there the first time, and he's actually in there. And then we ask him, hey, can we look around? Because his office used to be the crime scene for where Neil Marshall got, air quotes, murdered by Joe Dark. Even though Jake Marshall's like, nah man, that didn't happen. So we go in there the first time, and then Gant's like, get the fuck out of my office. And then he locks the door. So then, we have to get Edgeworth's, not Edgeworth, we have to get Gumshoe's ID card, and then he gives it to us, and then we go inside, we check around, and if you didn't know by now, Lucky 7420, that ID card number on the record, that's Gant, which is pretty obvious. If you still needed proof that he's evil, there's like a giant evil piano organ thing in his room where he just, I guess that's where he gets his evil theme music from. So anyway, we sneak in there, there's a safe inside with a passcode, which is his ID number, Lucky 7. We unlock it and we find two pieces of evidence that he's been hiding for years. One of them is a piece of the vase that we found in the evidence locker, that weird looking vase. And then the other is a handprint. And when we went to check the fingerprints, it was Emma's. So what's up with that? So, yeah guys, this is the, I think this is gonna be the finale. I think this is the final day. So anyway guys, let's get started. February 25th, 9:47 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Oh, Edgeworth! Oh, so in the last episode, we go into Edgeworth's office to talk to him about something, and then he panics, and then he, like, crumples up a piece of paper, and then he throws it underneath the desk. So then me and Emma go look at it, and it's a letter of resignation! Edgeworth's trying to leave me! And I can't let that happen! I swear to God, if you're not in the next game, I will throw myself! Edgeworth! Knowing you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the Lucky 7 ID number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Ugh, evil! Looks like I'm not the only one who figured it out. Edgeworth probably already knew. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True. Not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right, and Chief Prosecutor Sky will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. It's 'cause he likes you! Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. You don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever gonna find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. February 25th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 9. Emma's still gone! Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Oh, God, no. Chief Gant! Morning, folks! How's everyone doing? Hey, Udgy! Been back to the pool yet? What's with you in swimming? I don't understand. Can someone explain that to me? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh! That's a good one! Don't think I can top that! If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to what? Haven't heard what she intends to say. I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. Yeah, you told her to say something, you jackass! What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. What?! I confess to all charges against— Bitch, shut the fuck up! I'm trying to help you! On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce No, you didn't! In the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No! Stop! Lana! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claims does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. Bitch, did you just fire me? After all this work I did for you? No. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. The request is legally valid, although it is an unprecedented situation. No! Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. What? I lost? It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Objection! Oh, thank God. One moment, Your Honor. Ah! Edgeworth! Mr. Edgeworth! The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, hmm? Oh, no, 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 no! I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gantz. What? What you say, boy? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me to be. With the sudden confession from the defendants, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, hmm? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my rights of self-representation. I don't think we need to I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well! The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy. You'll live to regret this, mark my words. Oh no! Look at this face of pure evil! He's going to kill us! Miss Emma Skye, please take to the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Aw, thank you, Edgeworth, for saving my ass. Now then, witness, state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember, this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. He sure came in fast, because the judge is a pussy, that's why. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. See, this is exactly like what happened with Turnabout Goodbyes. Edgeworth thought he saw something, and then he ends up passing out. And then other people fill in the blanks for him, and it ends up being lies. So, obviously Gant did something, because we saw that picture in the last episode. Well, it wasn't a picture, it was like a flashback or something like that. But it was Joe Dark was on the floor unconscious, because they said that Neil knocked him upside the head. But then Marshall was dead on top of Dark, with a knife in his back. So, how did Joe Dark do that? Because that doesn't make sense. If Joe Dark was the one who stabbed him in the back, how did he get underneath Neil, and then both of them passed out on top of each other? That makes no sense. So, yeah, obviously a third person came in and killed Neil while Emma was passed out. What does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? It will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. I'm just here for the ride. I love a good show. Alright, 2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. Just gonna press everything, that's what we do. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes. She was second in command under the deputy chief of police Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Sky used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right! I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day, too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man came running in and took me hostage. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was, a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Doc proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. Neil Marshall rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were 2 people present during Doc's questioning. Deputy Chief David Gantz and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Doc. When Doc grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in? I don't clearly remember what happened then, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark, just then the lights went out. Okay. Marshall jumped on Dark, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. It was pitch dark in that room. You shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash was an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Hear more! So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago. Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she'd mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Asked about the picture. This picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. The list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? I already know. We found the drawing. It was in Gant's office. Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Yes. I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died, yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken. But I did draw it, I swear! I'm not just imagining it. This picture that Emma drew, that reminds me. I guess I should check the evidence again. I already know, Phoenix! Well, anyway, let's continue. The scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us? The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. That must have been a real shock. Even now when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Doc was holding you hostage. When When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark, I was thrown aside, and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie, but Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. Alright, so I already know, we found the picture in because Edgeworth, when we were talking to Edgeworth, he was like, because he had half of the evidence report. And he said, this evidence report is weird because it's so short. Usually it's twice as long. And we found the second half in Gant's desk. I went too far. Damn it. Okay, I was waiting in my sister's office. Man came in rushing in. Marshall rescued me. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. Nah, girl. I got you. Yep. Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence. Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy! All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist! Behold! This is the evidence list from the SL9 incident? Mm-hmm. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Oh! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey! That's it! That's the picture I drew! Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Don't ask me, ask Gant. He was the one who had it. Tell him, Phoenix. These lists. They're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What?! Order! Order! But Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor! Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Edgeworth, are you telling me that you never flipped the piece of paper over? Calm down, Edgeworth. You're gonna pop a blood vessel. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? He's having an aneurysm over there. Sorry, Alana. There's indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing! The Blue Badger! That thing! That was dancing in the evidence room! Wait! What? I thought the Blue Badger was just invented, like a year ago. How did Emma already have a drawing of it? Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. What? Oh, very well. Witness! Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at that picture. Alright, I'm gonna look at that right quick. Alright, be quiet, Emma. Why would this be here? So it's Emma's drawing of the guys fighting, and then the blue badger. And I can't flip it around or do anything to it. I'm like moving my head right now to see if it looks like anything. I don't know. But we'll find out in a minute, I guess. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think, a flash of lightning could burn such an image into your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dock about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Emma's picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gantz and Lana Skye. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should still have been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. So at the time you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? After that, I must have fainted. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. A flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? Oh, Edgeworth! Come on, man, you know it's not like that! She's my friend! She's my little buddy! What?! Hey, I'm not the he says the same thing! Hey, I'm not the bad guy here! Oh, it's like 2 dads and their baby! Anyway, this picture. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Sorry for asking so many questions, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. Better watch out or he might find some way to cut my salary! I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, that's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. Really? A contradiction in the picture? Alright, let me look again. What's wrong with it? Huh. Alright, let me go through it again. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Okay, so Phoenix is saying there's a contradiction here. What is wrong? Well, what do I have? Weapon found in wound was missing tip. Oh, wait, so the knife was already broken? Wait, weapon found in wound was missing the tip. Wait, didn't Gumshoe say they found the tip? Where was it? Aside from blood loss, weapon found in wound was missing tip. Oh, wait, oh. Okay, her knife is just a rectangle. There's no pointy part. Is that what's wrong? Because the autopsy says the knife was already broken. I don't know. That doesn't... I don't know. You could try? I think that's it. Oh, okay, I was right. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like yesterday! Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. Yeah, I just guessed. Please tell me what happened. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? I think it's the knife!
Take that!
I think that's supposed to be the knife. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man's holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip's broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. Oh, that's right. Wait, so did they find the tip later? Why did the autopsy... Oh, maybe it when they took it out, the tip had broken off in his body, and when they took the knife out, it was broken? I don't know. It was a conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. No. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma.
Objection!
And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What is the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. Wait, so... No, because they said he was only stabbed once, so he wasn't stabbed like once beforehand and then stabbed with something else. That's right! But what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time. but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? Oh god! All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. Oh! See, I completely forgot that there is some false evidence that they have. Oh, I forgot about that. So what? They jammed a piece of a knife in his body? That's kind of fucked up. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah! No! No! Order! Order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gantz. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Okay. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story there's a lie. I'm not lying! The man really was holding up a broken knife! If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. It must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Could there have been one? Emma's mistaken. There's another. No, there's gotta be another one. Why did they bring it up? If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this! Here's the real murder weapon! Is it this? I mentioned this yesterday! I was like, wait a minute. The old design for the trophy had a broken sword, and it's suspiciously missing in all the awards after. I think that's it, but, yeah, that's it. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past.
right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award Ah! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken metal weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding? That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order! Order! Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be! Oh? And why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors' award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed! What do you mean? I mean, you idiots! This man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall! Oh! 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 But the prosecutor was the one who actually died! Ah. That's true. What's going on? Even Phoenix doesn't know! Hair! It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait! I remember now! I remember everything! Goodness? Mr. Edgeworth! What? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? The blue badger? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. No! Stop with the dumb music! All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First a knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw... the blue badger? What? He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. How? The blue badger wasn't a thing until Turnabout Goodbye. How did you see him 2 years ago? Even the judge is like, the fuck, kid? Are you on crack? This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may... Stop! Please! Don't pursue this any further! Whoa! Where'd you come from? Lana! Oh, it's the meaning of this! Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this! I already confessed to the crime! Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! Or I'll smack you with my gavel! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff! Please detain the defendant. Alrighty, sir! Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. MS Recollection.
And I saw that man raise his knife. Hold it! When you say that man, I assume you're referring to Joe Dark. Yes, Phoenix, let me finish talking! At least I think it was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incidents is also documented in the prosecutor's office's reports. So then you... I panicked and rushed towards both of them. Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But, as we've just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think of was I gotta help that other person. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. What do you mean you think? It all happened so fast and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. When I did, it's all kind of a blur. Miss Sky was almost killed before she was witness to murder about to take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the Blue Badger. How? Are you sure about this? Of course! See? I even drew a picture of him! But how? But it was the chief of detectives who thought of this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. That thing! You can hear Gumshoe somewhere out there crying. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? What? He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. 3 creepy horns? This is pointless! That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh? And I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then by all means, please tell us what the shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when the lightning flashed? Who is this Blue Badger? What? I just might know, I'm not sure. I don't know? Am I supposed to say that I do know? Do I have the evidence? Wait, let me look. What would I have besides the actual Blue Badger? What would make her think the Blue Badger was in there? I don't get it. Like, what? Trying to think, what would I have, besides you, would look like a Blue Badger?
1 hour later.
Wait, no. Wait a minute. No, no, no! Are you kidding me? She saw the face? No. Is that it? That's the only thing I can think. What else do I have that I can show? Are you kidding? She saw the face. I just might know. What? The blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew the picture, yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright! In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instance? Please show us this mysterious blue badger. Oh my god! The mysterious blue badger was in fact this! But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger! Indeed, it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoints? Our viewpoints? I gotta show him the correct angle! No! Hey, I'm trying to... something like that.
Take that! Objection!
Allow me to remind the defense its case hinges on the witness's drawing. If Mr. Wright can't match the shape the witness drew, we cannot accept his claim. Oh, come on! It was close enough! Like that? What? Come on! It looks like it! Let me do it! God! How about now? Oh my god! I'm trying!
One eternity later.
Finally! Oh my god! I did that like 15 times! Oh! Well, is this a miracle or what? Fuck you! No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. No! No, it can't be! Oh my god! Oh, shut the fuck up. Order! Order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witness on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that blue badger thing was actually just a jar. It doesn't change anything. No, no, no. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see... You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then, please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The location, the murder weapon, the murderer. The murder weapon? Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it's these two facts that reveal what exactly transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from David Gant's side of the office to Lana Sky's? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, you wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have had to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armor! Holding a very sharp and dangerous— I knew that was gonna come into play! Oh! He ran into the armor! Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have been Neil Marshall wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking— Yes. There was another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless— I don't know if I can go through with this. No, Phoenix, come on! Say it! Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If offense took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually prosecutor Neil Marshall— Oh, God. Emma, you— Oh, no! Oh! Emma accidentally killed Neil. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? Oh, no! Oh! Remember in Gant's office, in that safe, I said there was two pieces of evidence. A piece of the vase and a handprint that was on, like, some leather. Neil wears cowboy stuff just like Jake. So Emma pushed Neil into the armor. That's why they were hiding her handprint. That was the reason why they forged everything. They were trying to— I don't know about Gant. I don't think Gant cares. But Lana was trying to protect Emma this whole time. Oh, no. No! Oh. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this.
So, it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. That's why she was trying to hide it. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? That handprint! I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this evidence. If you don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. You certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility?
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? Tell me!
I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. Oh, God! So he got stabbed by that spear, and he was just hanging there, and he didn't die immediately? Oh, imagine how he felt! He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. That's impossible!
Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? Well, I mean, Edgeworth brought it up, so it has to be.
I gotta think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is in the evidence, doesn't exist. I mean, it's gotta be in the evidence. I mean, why else would he bring it up? I guess we have something. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer?
Here.
Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Well, no, it was clearly an accident, and she was a child. She was like, what, 14? So yeah, no, we're not saying she's a murderer. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There's only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be.
Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Alright. Cloth? I don't think it's that. I'm assuming it has to do with this, this vase. So, let's look at it again. I'm assuming I have to present the jar again. I don't know. Please show us a piece of evidence. Jar? This is the message. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right?
Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name?
That thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone forgot this is just a jar. Everyone's an idiot but me.
A message was left here, on the surface of this jar.
What do you mean?
If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Oh. That's probably why it was smashed.
Yes, but notice, for some reason the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line here drawn in blood. So what y'all saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments he left to him to leave behind a message. Oh god, that's a horrible way to go out. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. Oh, no! Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim could have written given the circumstances. His murderer's name. It's gonna say Emma. Yep.
Take that!
It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Oh no! See, Worthy! Can't say I didn't warn you. Oh god, get out of here! It's the chief! Do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dog was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Well, hold on now. Hold on. He may have been innocent in Neil's thing, but he did kill like 7 other people. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. What noise did I just make? But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That is undeniable. I'm afraid that's not impotent. Oh my god, I hate you. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death. No, he was a murderer, you idiots! How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! 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 The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. To be continued. No, we're still going.